Welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Wan Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 794 by my last count. That is correct. Of the Trinity Force Podcast. My name is John and Erik, and it's just me and John tonight. John, say hello to everyone.
Hello. How are you doing, Erik? Let's hear how you're doing, Erik.
Thank you. I appreciate
It's
it.
been such a while since anyone asked how you're doing.
I know. Like, even when my partner comes home, she never asks how I'm doing. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just talking shit. She absolutely does. Yeah, no, I am good. I am a little tired today because I did not get enough sleep. I got about almost 6 hours or so, just because I was up too late and was hungover this morning. Basically, yesterday was so we're recording this on the 23rd. On the 22nd was the start of Lunar New Year for anyone that celebrates Lunar New Year. I believe they all start at the same time. But yeah, so neither me nor my girlfriend have any sort of Lunar New Year celebration stuff, but we both love Asian food and things like that. So we went to a Korean restaurant and had some Korean wine and obviously Korean food and such like that. And then I was drinking a little bit earlier too. We just Ubered over there. It was like it was literally $10 each way because it was like a couple miles away. And then came back. She crashed around like 11:30 or so, and I was up till like 2, still just playing games and drinking and such. So yeah, I woke up and had not a bad headache, but I had that. I don't know how you are when you're hungover, John. I have issues with temperature regulation. My body does not regulate its temperature well, and I am off balance a lot more than usual most of the day. But
Like in what direction?
like it's just normally I don't know. It's not like in a specific direction. It's just I'm a lot more clumsy, and
I see.
I'm not graceful on my feet like I normally am. No, I just can't. Like I don't know. I bump into things. It's just passively my body is not 100% on the same page as my brain there, and then my temperature regulation does not work. It's hot and warm and stuff like that, and even once I get hydrated and eat some food and stuff, like I feel fine right now, but like my feet are really cold and I feel warm in my upper half. Like it's a mess. But I'm gonna get some more sleep tonight so that it doesn't happen tomorrow as well. And I'm not drinking tonight either, so then I definitely won't be hungover tomorrow. So yeah, what are your hangovers like, man?
I mean, usually not too bad unless I really get after it.
Okay. Yep. I've noticed that I have learned that people, it's true, everyone, age does make hangovers worse. I used to not get them at all when I was like 18 or so. Now, almost a decade later, I'm starting to. I mean, they're not like horrible, but if it is a pretty bad one, I can feel it for most of the day, or if not a whole day. But yeah, other than that, I was playing Stray, the game earlier. I was playing it last night. I was playing some, and I was playing some today, trying to get through it and finish it, and then I'll have one less reason not to play more League. It's just a fantastic game. So if anyone hasn't played it, if you don't know what it is, go look it up. You play as the cat and you run around. It's the cat game. It's so cool. Um, it's I just got an achievement as well. I got one that was called Alcatraz. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's a play on Alcatraz with a cat. If you weren't able to get it, I definitely gave that away too much. But League's been good. I've done some of my placements. I'm through 6 games and I'm 5-1 right now. Yeah, and I could have been 6-0 had some other people had some better mental, but we got trounced kind of in the one game that we lost. But so far so good, and I'm looking forward to all these patch notes we're going to be reading, and looking forward to that dropping. Maybe shake up the jungle meta a little bit. It's not stale. There's a lot of stuff you can play. It's just not my favorite. So, Yeah, and I don't have any travel on the horizon because I've been traveling a lot for different reasons and going different places and stuff. I'm in one place for at least the next like month and a half, 2 months or so, which is nice. So, um, yeah, that's how I'm doing. Thank you for asking, John. How are you doing, my good friend?
Doing great. Um, Playing a little bit of League. Been playing through Jedi Fallen Order. It's been fun. Started Sekiro. Been really liking that. As far as League, I've been playing a good bit of ADC. Really been enjoying that. Getting ready for the changes coming up. I've
Oh
just been
yeah,
enjoying ADC too. Just enjoying it more. So I've been playing it more.
nice. I haven't played all that much ADC because it's never really my go-to, but I definitely see a lot of ADCs not having fun and looking forward to the changes. And I'm looking forward to, maybe go play some normal games and play ADC as well with some of these changes coming through soon. But yeah, when concerning Fallen Order and Sekiro, I know that I mean obviously they're both I don't remember the name of the studios, but they're like Souls like games in that sort of way. What's which one do you think is harder?
Sekiro definitely.
Really? What about it is
Yeah.
harder? Is it like that? I guess what about it is harder?
Uh, I mean, I just think in general the difficulty of stuff like is harder, and then like the just like first encounter, I guess. Like, I mean, I haven't played Sekiro that much, but
Hmm.
just from my encounters with like I guess like harder opponents are much tougher. They seem much tougher.
Yeah. If
Like I guess pairing is like super important. I mean, it's like everything in Sekiro. So like if you can get good at that, then it makes like such a big difference. And also just like knowing the moves that you can parry and the moves that you have to dodge or that you can like jump and dodge
mhm.
and whatnot.
um, can you so in Fallen Order? I didn't really parry all that much when I played through it up until later on. I started to really use it because you needed some with some of the later on boss battles. But can you? Because I just you can basically get through that game mostly with just dodging and movement and jumping and such like that. But it sounds like you can't really do that with a lot of the boss battles and other things in Sekiro. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say. I mean, you can. There's like an element of all that, but like, I feel like pairing is like it's apparent in the game that
Sure.
pairing is the most like important skill, I guess, mechanically in the game.
Sure. Okay. Cool. Well, maybe I will. Actually, I'm not going to check it out. I don't. The only reason
Like,
I got into the parrying games is more for the Star Wars thing. So I'm not gonna. My cousin's been telling me I need to go play Souls or play Souls 2 or Sekiro or. That's a big reason why I didn't play Elden Ring at all because parrying and dodging and stuff it's very time intensive for that game too. Though I know that it's an amazing game.
yeah, I like any stuff where there's like timing is super important like that, like the with pairing stuff. Um,
Sure.
like, did you ever like the arcade game they have in where it's like they have the little blocks that go back and forth and it has to go like goes up the tower and it starts with three and then after you go up to the third like stack or level it's two blocks at a time that goes like back and forth and then once you get to a certain point it's just one that goes back and forth. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Do
Really?
you have any idea of the name? I could try and
I think it's called just stack. It's like like a game that's an arcade. So I mean, I
Stacker.
just mentioned that because it's like yeah, it's like a timing thing where you just have to push the button to stop. Where it's like
Yeah.
it looks like Tetris kind of, but it's like
Came out in 2004. It's like blue blocks that are coming in lines. Okay.
but yeah, like that. I mean, that's timing is like everything in that.
It's actually, I don't know if you know, but Stacker is possible to beat.
Yeah, I beat it.
Oh, you have. Okay, because
Time. Yeah,
on
that
the
was like
regular
why I
the
mentioned it.
regular setting, the estimated ratio of wins to losses is 1 in 800.
Yeah, I've won once, a single time, and it was
Cool.
when I was like 14, I would say. Yeah, I was probably yeah 13 or 14.
Nice. I
It was
kind of want to
actually in Ohio. Yeah,
kind of
there
want to
was
look
an
it up a little
arcade.
footage here. I will mute this and just look at it. Oh, interesting. Okay,
And
they're
that one
going
like
back
this
and forth,
like a
and
camera.
yeah, I
Yeah,
get it.
that
You're
one
going
like a
back and
camera.
forth. Okay, that's pretty cool, actually. Damn. Okay, I've seen this before. I've never played it, but I've seen it.
Yeah, I tried to describe it
You did a
as
decent
well as I
job.
could.
You did a good job. I just didn't get it, which is not your fault. I have no common sense, and my brain isn't working right because I'm hungover, so it's all good. Cool.
But yeah, I like any stuff where like timing is important. Uh, and like pairing mechanic is like super fun, I think. And I haven't given those games a go, so they were all on sale on Steam, and I wanted to pick them up.
They were. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be more Steam sales coming up, and there always are. Maybe it'll be in a humble bundle at some point. Did you get Fallen Order when it was at that like $8 price, like 96% off or something insane?
I got it for like $4.30 or something like that.
Yeah,
It was absurd on Steam.
yeah. I bought it for full price when it came out. I mean, I don't regret it at all. It was an amazing game. I remember when I
Yeah,
finished it, I put down the controller and audibly said, "Wow." It's great.
it was solid.
Yeah, just wait for I'm not spoiling anything, but wait for the ending. It's wild.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the Hogwarts game is too.
Your
It's coming out
Hogwarts
in
Legacy,
February.
the open world one, the MMO.
Yeah, it comes out like sometime in February, I think.
I think so. Wasn't it pushed back the launch or something?
I'm not sure.
Hogwarts
Last time I checked, it
Legacy
was supposed to be in February.
release date. Oh, February 10th. It was delayed twice, first to 2022 and then later to February 10th of 2023. Xbox One versions have been delayed from February to April, and Nintendo Switch port is scheduled for release in July. So PC and PC is going to get it first. That's most people are going to play it on a PC. They don't know why you'd play a MMO on a console or on a Switch even. Yikes. But cool. All right, should we get into it? We got a lot of shit to
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah. Let's get into it.
Okay, sweet. So, basically, we're going to talk about patch 13.2, which I guess the first big thing is it has been delayed. We don't exactly know. It was supposed to come out the day after we're reading this, so it's supposed to come out tomorrow, the 24th or the 25th of January, but that's been delayed because Riot Games tweeted out that they had, it says, I'll just read it. Earlier this week, systems in our development environment were compromised by a social engineering attack. We don't have all the right answers now, but we wanted to communicate early and let you know that there is no indication that player data or personal information was obtained. Unfortunately, this has temporarily affected our ability to release content. While our teams are working hard on a fix, we expect this to impact our upcoming patch cadence across multiple games. Oh, sorry, my phone is still on loud. Let me turn that off. Please be patient with us as we work through this, and we'll keep you posted as we continue our investigation. So that was 3 days ago, and there is no update since. League of Legends official Twitter then responded and said it may impact delivery date for patch 13.2, and it has, because otherwise we would see more notes that have come out by now. And then it said they might also have to push the RE ASU to patch 13.3 on February 8th, but they will keep us updated as they work through it. And there's no more news as of yet, so just keep that in mind. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first off, there's some sweet skins coming out. I guess I'll start with this as opposed to ending with it. Lunar Empress skins look beautiful in splash art. Don't know what they look like in game. I haven't seen it at all. And then Prestige Porcelain Lysandra should look really cool because all the porcelain skins look sick. Do you
Yeah,
like
they
the
do.
porcelain skin line? Yeah,
Yeah, they do look really cool. I think all the splash arts for these look really cool too.
they do. Let me see.
So
I
I
haven't
want to
opened
see.
all of them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the like skin spotlights for them. I wonder how the Ash one will be because I feel like I'm always like those are kind of hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah, this Ash one reminds me of Fey Dragon. Ash. Fey Dragon
That's
Ash
okay.
looks very yeah, that one looks very similar to me. She has a lot of skins. Good God.
Yeah, she
Jesus.
does. I have High Noon, which is like looks good, but it's kind of like not really that good, I guess, like from a gameplay standpoint.
Yeah, I like Woad. That's the one I have. It's not it's much better for poke because the autos feel kind of clunky on it. But um, yeah, it's she could do with a modern tune-up in terms of visuals.
I
But the
think
other,
Project feels like the autos feel good on the Project. I think, but
yeah,
I don't know
uh,
if you played with that one.
no, I haven't. I've heard that though, but there's a reason I don't see it ever because Ash isn't that popular, and it's not allowed in pro play because the ult is
Yeah,
deceiving, so it's banned.
yeah, that's true.
Yep. So normally, I don't know what they're playing, but they don't play that whenever pros play her. The Kha'Zix one looks really cool, but I'm having a feeling it's going to be like Odyssey. I was saying to you earlier, the Malphite one, the splash art looks absolutely fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm excited to see what that one was. I thought it was a Volibear skin at first, but it's not.
yeah.
I guess I'll open it so people can see what I'm talking about here. Here we go. Upcoming. He looks like Volibear. He straight up does. But it looks really cool. And then Lunar Empress Kiana looks okay. I'm not going to open it. I didn't open the Emperor Thrash. Let me see what this one looks like. Ooh, this seems like
Interesting.
something that Fenrir is going to open his wallet for. Okay, sweet. And then the porcelain Lysandra, it looked kind of the same to me when I looked at it. But in
I
any
bet you
case, oh, go ahead.
like the porcelain Lysandra one. I bet you the animations for that one are gonna sound sick. Like for her Q ending. I'm
Hmm.
excited for that, honestly, for that skin. I mean, I don't play her that much, but I just feel like that theme could be really cool for her.
Yeah, agreed. It absolutely could be. Are you gonna buy the event pass in order to get her get enough Lunar Revel tokens to get the skin?
Nah, I'm not that big of a Lysandra player. I mean,
Agreed.
I've got other stuff I would rather play, I guess, mid. I mean, I've played her a little bit. I think she's pretty good, but I mean, she's kind of,
She's not the most fun
I don't know.
champion to play.
Yeah, she's very low range.
She is. But yeah. All right. So Ari, she is getting splash art reworks for 4 of her skins. And then they're adjusting. Okay, so new splash art for Midnight, Foxfire, Popstar, and Challenger, and then adjusted splash arts for all the other skins. New sound effects, new voiceover, new lore. Which is going to be really cool to see. Updated ability icons, complete visual update across all the skins. And so that's the ASU art and sustainability update will be shipped either this patch or next patch, is what they're saying. As for balance stuff, she also has some balance stuff. So I'll read through this, then we can talk about it a little bit. Her Q mana cost is down by 5 at all ranks. The AP ratio on the Q is reduced by 5%. So it's now a 40% AP ratio. Her E cooldown is down 2 seconds at all ranks, and the charm duration is increased early by 0.2 seconds. So it's now 1.4 at rank 1 as opposed to 1.2. Still scales to be 2 seconds. And then the R cooldown is reduced by 10 at all ranks. This doesn't seem, I mean, these seem like changes that you make when you're trying to sell skins. That's all I really read from this. I don't think it changes all that much.
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got on that too. I mean, they're just bumping the numbers a little bit up.
Yeah, but I do like that the changes that they're being made, they said, are changes from patches 12.9, 12.17, and 12.22 are all being reverted. So I do like that they're, instead of changing other things, they're just tweaking things that have already been tweaked previously. It's good. It doesn't add any extra level of complexity. It's just some of these numbers, which I like. So, Annie is getting some stuff. Do you want to read through this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think these are really interesting and like pretty cool. Uh, so the first thing I think, which is pretty big for her, is her passive is like at full stacks when the game starts and whenever you respawn. So I feel like that opens up like interesting stuff for maybe her end date. Obviously, is way better now, and she can just use her Q, start her Q too, which is super nice because I believe the only way to do it before was just start W, right? I mean, that's the only
That
way
was
that
the
you could
only
get
way
your
to do
stuff.
it. Yeah.
So that's just a nice quality of life change. Opens up embed potential for her. Just like super nice. Uh, Same. I mean, it opens up like plays to make out of base with TP when you respawn.
True.
You can just TP insta ult or Q someone and then do your full combo. So I think that's like I think this is interesting and like cool. I mean, she's like a very old champion, and I think this is a like very good way to change her without doing too much, but like kind of more modernizing her, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same. It just makes sense to do that because they do that with Pantheon and basically anything that a passive has to
Everyone who's like
stack.
that, yeah.
It always is full at game start and respawn. It just always is. So totally good. Bring it up in line with other stuff. But yeah, she's got some other stuff. Let's hear all of
Yeah, and then
those.
her W mana cost is reduced from 90 to 110 to 70 to 110. So down 20 the first level. And then her E is a little bit different now. So whenever it now deals damage whenever you take damage. Um, but it's only once per enemy for her ability cast. And then it's increased. Like the reflected E damage is 20 to 60 plus 20% AP to 20 to 60 to 40% AP. And then the base shield is going from 40 to 220 to 60 to 220. So just a little buff to her shield. And
That
then to just a little change as well with the like reflection damage. And then decay of haste decrease from 50% to scaling 15 to 35%.
I
And
don't.
then the last
Do you know
what?
what that last clause means? I don't quite understand what they're saying there.
Yeah, I don't really either. Let's see, decay of haste decrease. I don't know.
Oh,
Is
so
it with
when
her?
I'm thinking they mean haste might be the technical term for when she gets a speed boost. That's probably what it is.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that is it. That is what it is. And then the last thing is her ultimate Tibbers health is getting increased from 13 to 3100 to 13 to 3100 and scaling now to plus 75% AP. And then resist on Tibbers are increased from 30 to 90 to 30 to 90 plus 5% AP. So they're just getting some AP scaling. So Tibbers is going to be a tanky boy.
Is Tibbers a boy?
I don't know.
I'm not
I
sure.
think
But
Tibbers is
Tibbers
going to be
is
a
going to be
tanky
tanky.
bear. He's going to be a tanky bear.
Tibbers gender. Does it ever say? I don't think it says. I'm gonna look. I'm on her wiki right now. There are
Like in her lore.
yeah, in like the long lore. Tibbers. Tibbers, yeah. Oh, Oh my god, I didn't realize this. Okay, Tibbers is a fiery demon with ties to some family. Originally a servant of Mordekaiser, he was captured by LeBlanc after she defeated Mordekaiser and infused into Ameline Chaos, I don't know, whatever, whom later sealed him into her daughter Annie's teddy bear. Holy what? That's
So it
wild.
is him. It is him.
Yes, Tibbers is gonna be a tanky boy. So yes, it's a
He's going
male.
to be a tanky boy. He's tanky Tibbers is he's not going to be any joke. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Getting the
overall,
ultimate that. Yeah.
I think these are really cool. Like the Tibbers stuff is just like nice little quality of life. Obviously, there's the passive things we talked about. W mana cost is pretty big because this is her. I mean, this is her second max. Unless you're support, it might be your first max on support, Annie. But or maybe Jungle Annie. This is actually your first max as well. Not that people really play Jungle Annie, but you can. It's not all that bad. And yeah, but up until you're not going to be maxing this up until um now it would be level uh 12 is where this is going to equal out generally in most games. So that's free mana for a lot of the game. That's really nice. Um and then the E is going to be sneaky good, I think. I don't think people really respect her damage reflection, just like people don't respect damage reflection on Ram SW or on Thornmail as much as they should. So I'm definitely excited to see this.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good change on RE too, because it's more like I feel like skillful uh like expression of the E usage with that. Because I mean you have to think about like the damage reflection and the other stuff now too, which is I think that's just good. And like you said, with the passive change, I think it'll be really good for her because I mean she's been pretty like lackluster in terms of like pick popularity.
Yeah, she has been. Yeah. All right, so now, anytime we've talked about some of these ADC mana stuff, so I'm just gonna read through them. We don't even really have to talk about them as any. So there's like a few of them right here, and I'll read through. So Ash, getting her mana scaling increase from 32 to 35, and then her mana regen scaling is increased from 4 to 6.5 per level. Caitlyn is getting mana scaling increase from 35 to 40, and mana regen scaling from 5.5 to 7. Ezreal, mana regen scaling increase from 0.65 to 1. And then they fixed a bug with Azir where the arm missiles are now castable while dead. Basically, this happened a few times in Worlds, and it's happened in Pros as well already, where he will people will throw the R as they die, and then the wall doesn't do any damage, and it doesn't knock anyone up if they die early enough, like before they get hit by the wall, get hit by Azir R. So now that bug is fixed. Hopefully, at all times, that's great. There are some details that they haven't released. Gangplank is getting some changes, and they haven't said what they are. Same with Heimerdinger, but here's another mana one with Jin. W mana cost reduced from 50 to 90 to 50 to 70. That one seems pretty nice. Jinx base mana increase from 245 to 260. Mana growth increase from 45 to 50. And W mana cost reduced from 50 to 90 to 50 to 70. Kaisa base mana increase from 344.88 to 345, so a number cleanup there. Mana scaling increase from 38 to 40, and then mana regen scaling increase from 0.45 to 0.7. Kassadin, they have not said what they're doing. Same with Kindred, same with Lilia. I'm just going to keep going. We got more ADC mana stuff. Lucian, base mana reduced from 349 to 340. Mana growth increase from 38 to 45. Base mana regen reduced from 8.18 to 8. Mana regen growth increased from 0.7 to 0.85. Misfortune, mana growth increased from 35 to 40. Mana regen reduced from 8.05 to 8. Mana regen growth increased from 0.65 to 0.8. Maokai, it's a nerf, they've said, but it's we don't know what's happening. All right, next real change. Mordekaiser, W damage to shielding conversion reduced from 15% to 7.5. So they're halving the amount of damage when you're dealing or taking that gets converted to this shield. What do you
Yeah,
think this means for jungle and lane Mordekaiser separately?
I mean I think Jungle Mordekaiser, I think he was still very good, like
Mm-hmm.
currently in this patch. So I think that'll be a nerf to him. Obviously, it's like clear a little bit. I mean, it's still I don't think we'll do that much to him because I never found that to really be an issue. Like it wasn't like I don't know. It wasn't like he was getting super low anyway. He's just like insta killing all the monsters even on his first play or like you know.
Yeah.
I never found he got even without his W. I find that I don't even get that low.
No, not really at all.
Like you could just not use it and it would I mean it would matter, but like it would be not that big of a deal. So I don't know. I don't think that that's a huge deal to his jungle player, but definitely a lot worse for lane Mordekaiser. But I mean he's been very good top lane too.
Yeah,
So
and he's
I think
picked
in general.
pretty often, although his pick rate has gone down. I'm just looking at win rates right now, and his jungle win rate is 49. So this is going to go down a little more with a 2% pick rate. I don't really see jungle Mordekaiser all that often anymore, and that's backed up by the stats. Top
Yeah.
Mordekaiser is pretty common. I had it twice a couple days ago and set in like the space of like 8 games, but 6% pick rate and a 50.15% win rate. So they're deciding that, and probably when they build right, it's much better than that. So they're knocking it down a peg, and he'll probably dip to sub 50, but probably be in like the high 49s. Probably where he should be though, because he's not an all-around good. He probably should sit around 49 because he's a response champion. You don't just pick Mordekaiser to pick Mordekaiser, ideally.
Yeah. And you don't just like blind Mordekaiser every single game.
No.
So I think this is a much needed change because like yeah, I've seen him like you were saying, I've seen him much more often in top lane. And I mean it's if he wins top lane or if you don't like as the jungler kind of take care of him for level 6, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, and
So it's nice.
he murders early dragons too, and Rift Heralds. Like you have to really pay attention to those too.
Yeah, and his like when Jungle Mordekaiser was better too, and I like even now. I mean, he gets like his clear, especially after his first clear, so fast. It's like absurdly fast for that character. I feel like so. Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see what. But this is definitely, in my opinion, way worse for uh top lane Mordekaiser. I think
Right.
that'll just hurt him a little bit, but
Agreed. And
he's
but
been strong, so we'll see.
he has for a long time. But I think we both recognize that this isn't gonna make him. It's not gonna make Mordekaiser unplayable or really change him all that much. It's just a nudge down, though, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And then, yeah, I guess the next thing is Nami is getting a nerf, but they don't know what it is. But I don't know. Do you have anything to say about this?
The Nami, whatever they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um. Yeah, because I mean, this is definitely a Lucian placebo nerf.
I
But
don't know. I have other thing, I guess,
okay,
that
go
I
ahead. Yeah, you tell me what you think then.
so like I don't know if you've seen this, but there's like a Nami build that's floating around where you go mandate, like you rush mandate, or really you rush Lucidity Boots, mandate, and then you go a Dark Seal, pretty early on, and then you just rush Medjai's, and then go Rabadons.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, and so her AP scalings are absurd. So like if I mean her E or is it her W, the ebb and flow hits so hard, and her ult hits so hard if you've got the Dark Seal and the Medjai's. But I mean it's
Yeah.
her AP scalings are pretty insane. So it does a lot of damage. The bounce.
Yeah, her Q. I'm looking at AP scalings now. Her Q has 50% AP ratio, so that's okay. Um, that's the Aqua Prison. Also, her passive has a AP ratio. Did not know
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah, so
20%
that's the other
AP.
thing.
The ebb and flow, that's the heal or the damage that goes out, is the heal is a 25% AP ratio and the actual damage is a 50%. And then for every bounce it has, it makes the next bounce less effective by 15%, but you can make it more effective with AP. It's like 7.5% per 100 AP. So if you have 200 AP, each bounce doesn't change at all. They're all equal. And if you have more than 100, if you have more than 200 AP, the more bounces you have, the better it is too, which is kind of crazy. So that probably is why there's a lot of AP there. And then her E has, that's where you empower yourself or other champs to do bonus damage and slow their target. The bonus damage per hit is 20% AP ratio, and the slow is 5% per 100 AP. So that's a lot of slow though if you're stacking that up. And then her R is a 60% AP ratio. So hers are high for a support, but yeah, I remember when she was released and people were trying to play her in mid lane and they were saying her AP ratios were too low. But I do get how with the Medjai's, if you're able to get it, and then with Death Cap, you're get the Medjai stacked, you're going to be doing a lot of damage and a lot of healing.
Yeah, the other thing is like your R, like you just throw your R, it does a good bit of damage because she has good AP scaling on her R, like 60% I think,
Hmm.
and then it gives also your team a lot of movement speed because of her passive. Like if they're just in that area, and I mean it's just such a good engage and just like disruption, but like also does a good bit of damage if you hit a lot of people.
Yeah,
And then I
it
mean she's got
does.
the healing and like the AP scaling on the W where it bounces and hits enemies is 50%, and the healing component is 25%. So the W still hits pretty hard. Like if they're all stacked together and you hit them like in a choke with your R W, and you have like an ally or a few allies near them, like it does, and it bounces to like two or three people. It does a lot. Um, but I've seen that like actually played against it a lot too. So it's been that's been interesting. I don't know, but I'll be interested to see what they do specifically because I mean I feel like that's kind of just kind of a little cheesy.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if
So
that should be a thing, you know?
yeah, I get what you're saying. They'll probably change something where that's going to be less effective. Maybe just give her more raw base stats would be the better way to do it, and then nerf some of the AP ratios and like I don't think she's all that strong on her own. I don't think she necessarily needs a nerf uh to herself, but yeah, an adjustment would get rid of something like that. Her stats were like she had like a 51% win rate or so, but I'm pretty sure a lot of that is because Lucian and or like Draven or other characters that she gets played with or Caitlyn are good right now. So if you drop, uh, if you change some of those other stats around, then she's not applicable with some of those other ones. And as meta changes, she goes up and down anyways. She's a meta reliant champion, not so much a Nami champion. If you get what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Okay, cool. Well,
But you want to go through Oriana?
Sure. Yeah. Also one last thing with Nami, and then I'll read through it. Is if Nami does get nerfed, or depending on the changes, then we will probably see Lucian Nami disappear from competitive play, which would be very nice to see some other stuff pop in because Lucian Nami is in
Yeah.
every game, or like it's banned or picked all the time. I don't know about in the West as much, but in Korea it is everywhere still. That's
Yeah.
all I've been
Just
watching
change it
with
up.
it.
I just want to see some different stuff.
Yeah, I want a
Something,
Felios back.
something fresh, something different.
Hmm. Okay, so yep, Oriana. Q pass-through damage changed from 10% less per enemy after 10% less per enemy after the first, capped to 60%, to 30% less for enemy after the first. Doesn't deal with the cap. So as you're the Q when you're redirecting the ball, when it deals damage as it passes through, but for every enemy it passes through, it's supposed to deal less and less damage, which is different than the actual where it lands the damage. That is different from the pass through. But so they're adjusting the number on that. The W mana cost is going down from 70 to 110 to 70 to 90, so 20% or 20 less at max rank. And then her R damage is increased from 200 to 350 plus 80% AP to 250 to 450 plus 90% AP. So 50 damage level 1 additional, and then at level 3 an additional 90 or additional 100 flat damage plus a 10% AP ratio increase. So this is good. I mean, Oriana has been on the cusp of being good, I felt like, for a while, but she's already a champ that you need to really know what you're doing to play well. She's not someone that you can just like, hey, I got autofilled mid, I'm gonna play Oriana. That doesn't work. Don't do that, folks. But I don't know. I like this. Seeing Oriana when she's good, like seeing her in pro play and such, and uh, just seeing her in games, I like that a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I think she's really a fun champion to watch, like with the skill for like user or like when someone who's really good with her pilots her, like especially in pro play, like you were saying, I think it's really fun to watch, and I think she opens up a lot of like just interesting like gameplay in team fights and stuff like that. Because I mean, she's also I feel like just good for from like a competitive standpoint, right? Because like there's a lot of people in competitive that can pilot her mechanically very well, and then can get really high CS with her. So she's definitely a threat and very annoying to deal with. Um, if she's really strong late game, I mean,
Oh
the
yeah,
slow insane, the shields are insane, the disruption is really good. I mean, her lane pressure is like she can fully in lane. She can CS really easily. I mean, from a pro perspective, it's I feel like a good pick. Like it's nice to have a champion like that who's like good in the meta.
yeah. I 100% agree with you. She where's the actual page? I'm just looking at some of her AP ratios because they are pretty high.
Yeah,
She has low
like
base damage because a lot of it's pretty spammable, but high AP ratios. I guess these are not as high as I thought, some of them, but the R, as I said, is getting up to 90, so that's a pretty high on an ultimate. The E, the command and protect, the damage that it does when it dealing. Oh, pass through damage. Oh, I thought the pass through was actually on her passive, but it's not. It depends on the spell for Q or E. But the pass through on
yeah,
Her E is a 30% AP ratio, and then the shield strength is 45%. The W is a 70% AP ratio. That's the main damage, and then her Q is a 50% AP ratio. Plus her autos have um, 15% AP ratio on hit, which increases up to 2 stacks, and then at max it's 21% AP ratio as well. So she does a lot, and she's one of those champions that really, really, really denies area so well. Like you have to. It's almost like playing against Anivia in a weird way, but she can respond way faster than Anivia can. And I mean, she doesn't have the power and the spell hit that Anivia does as much, but um, it's you can't walk near the ball or within too close of the ball because then she just moves it real quick with a Q and then W's you, and then it's a free comet proc every day of the week, or area or whatever. It's I don't know. I don't like playing against her, but I do. She is a very healthy champion for League to have.
Yeah, I think she's just like the classic. I like that she's like very hard to play though. But
Hmm.
like, if someone's good with her, she's insane. I think that's like prop like how it should be with her. But yeah, I mean her AP scalings are really good, and I mean if you like you're saying if you don't respect the ball like even a little bit, the range on it's a good on the Q is pretty it's pretty high. So I mean if you don't respect it or dodge it, I mean you're gonna get absolutely just destroyed like late game with that. And the other thing, I don't know if you faced this, like I faced like Electrocute and Airy Oriana, especially Electrocute, it's like so oppressive in lane, man, in mid lane, like
Because the QW does it because the slow on the
just
W
insta does
counts
it.
towards it. Yeah, you don't even need to
Yes,
auto or
you just
anything.
literally, yep, you can literally just insta proc Electrocute. It is so oppressive in lane if you're good at doing that. And you're the other thing I like about her is like the autos and your movement, like especially when you're all lining someone, really matters with her.
Yeah,
Because of the way her autos work, like the moving in such a way that you're getting off maximum autos is very important with her, and like can make a huge difference in terms of like damage. But that's the other thing I like about her is there's just like a component of her spells, and then her autos are also important though.
agreed. Agreed. It absolutely separates like a good Oriana player from a bad one. And yeah, she also has a really cool. I mean, last thing on her, and then we'll keep moving because there's a lot of changes to go through. Her lore is also really cool. It's sad, but it's cool. So I'd recommend that people go read that if you're interested in lore. It's really cool. Um, anyways, Rise, they're changing Rise. It's going to be a nerf, almost definitely. And then details are still coming. They haven't released it. Senna, mana changes here again, folks. Mana regen increase from zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.7. Sivir, mana scaling increase from 40 to 45, and then W mana cost reduced from 60 to 80 to 60 at all levels. Um, and then Twitch is also getting some mana changes. Base mana increased from 287.2 to 300, number cleanup. And then mana regen scaling increased from 0.45 to zero point 0.7. Yumi, they haven't released the details of. Zaya, mana regen scaling increase from 0.75 to zero point 0.8. Udyr, they haven't released exactly what they're doing, but they're targeting Armax Udyr, so the Jack show with demonic Udyr. Um, and then we have two other changes here as well. So, I mean, before we talk about Syndra and Zoe and stuff, just about we don't know what numbers or how they're changing Udyr, but we were talking off before we started recording about Udyr and how this change needs to come, but also the fucking lethality Udyr changes need to come through. Do you want to like tell everyone else what you were telling me about your thoughts on Udyr?
Yeah, so like I don't know, man. It's just like the that same exact build is still like very viable, and by that build I mean the one where you go Bork Prowler's Claw or Prowler's Claw Bork, and then go full tank, and you just Q Prowler's Claw, and then you just insta kill whoever it is because it doesn't matter if they're a tank. It doesn't matter who you are. It will just like one tap you if he has Hail Blades with Prowler's Claw and Bork, and then he just goes full tank after that, and he's super hard to kill as well.
Yeah,
I just think they need to like that needs to be addressed. The R Max is like I don't know. I think more of the issue, I mean, in my opinion, is like, and I mean, I think they are doing some changes to this if I'm not mistaken, but like, I mean, currently you just rush demonic embrace on Udyr, which I feel like is like kind of problematic in like a sign that demonic embrace needs to be probably toned back some or changed, which I think they're doing.
It's
Um,
not on this patch, but
as
I
for
do
melees,
remember
yeah,
they were saying that they're gonna touch it more and watch it. And I believe they nerfed it in 13.1, the patch we're on, but it's still too strong. Like Udyr rushes it first. Maokai rushes it first right now. I rushed it first on Zac earlier this, and it felt totally good. There's other champions that can absolutely just rush it, and it's fine. That's a problem. It's not meant to be a first item. It's meant to be like a second or a third or a fourth or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I think whenever like a bunch of characters are just like rushing this item, then obviously there's something going on.
It
But
has the Ravenous Hydra treatment going on right now.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's like I guess I don't know. I guess to like a certain point, like just depending on the numbers, like I don't know. I feel like the passive, like one of the issues with the item is like the stats, are just like super good. Like it is an expensive item, but the stats are so good. And then the passive is insane. And then like with the passive, you can just build full health and have so much AP if you have AP scaling as well.
I think also the build path has things that can build into multiple items, as well as it being pretty good. If they made the build path
Yeah,
more penalizing, if they changed the AP items to being, instead of a blasting wand and an amp tome, if they put in like a pink rod instead, that would make it worse just because of build path there.
yeah, like I think that's another thing is like it has such a good build path, and also the build path like it just feels good to build that. Like it's like a giant spell, blasting one. Then what is it? 10?
Amp tome and then 815 additional money.
Yeah, I mean that feels so good to build as like any AP bruiser or like any character who just builds full health. Like that item feels insane. So
Yeah, they should. If in my mind, they should change it to be Ruby Crystal does not upgrade into Giant's Belt, and then Pink Rod, and then a bunch of extra gold.
yeah, and then I mean I don't know. I don't know about Jack Show. I mean I think it's still pretty strong. Like
It
they nerfed
is.
it pretty good, but it's still strong. I mean that's what he's building second. So
Yeah,
it is what it is. But yeah, I think in general like the Prowler's Claw board thing needs to be something needs to be done about that because
yeah.
it's so unfun to play against, and like there really is not that much skill to it, you know. Like
There is zero skill. You press your Q when you
yeah,
have
and
your
then
passive ready.
Prowler's
You
Claw, and
press
that's it.
a number or a thing assigned to your Prowler's Claw, and you don't you auto target. Then you can take your hands
You
off the
right click
keyboard.
them.
You can
Yep,
go the
right click
Yumi.
them.
You can go the Yumi treatment and hands off the keyboard, folks.
Yeah, and then also his like clear is like disgustingly good at the same time.
It is. Yeah, he has too much going on for him right now, so I'm looking forward to these nerfs. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
yep. All right. Last two changes of champions, then we got a bunch of items. So, Syndra, the W cast wind down time is removed, so they're making her W feel better to use now. Okay. Uh, Neither of us really play Syndra. I don't think this makes that big of a deal. It's just more of a quality of life change. But this next one, John, why don't you take it? Why don't you take Zoe? Because you came
Oh
in
yeah.
hot when you told me there was some Zoe changes.
Oh yeah. I was like, well, they're buffing all of Eric's favorite characters. How lovely is that? But yeah, Zoe's E is her shred is going um
Well, she didn't have
from
one before.
yeah, so she didn't have any shred before, but now she's getting MR shred, and it's going 20 to 30% scaling when the target falls asleep and until they wake up. So her ooh, her Q, her full combo, it's gonna be hitting harder than it's ever been hitting.
Durability update. What? No, Zoe don't have to worry about no durability update.
Yeah, one shots are back in town for Zoe.
Whew, I am excited about this. Oh.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I
now
think this
that
is insane,
ADC
yeah, for
changes
her.
came through as well, we got to do some dueling. Zoe support and whatever ADC you feel like playing.
Oh yeah. Let's do it.
Sweet. I think this is good. Zoe has felt a little. She feels good as a support. I don't even know about her stats, but I don't think they're all that good. Mid lane, she hasn't seen pro play really for a long time, and she doesn't feel that good. Mid lane right now, she has a 49% win rate, and people don't really pick her if they don't know what they're doing because she's kind of weird to play as well. Her support doesn't have enough pick rate, but has a 48% win rate. I mean, again, these are I think that they are both better than this, but support I think is better than mid. It's just harder to play. It's really weird play style. Um, but these are gonna help. This will push her north of 40. I would guess this will push her up to like 51% in mid, and then support. I don't know if they'll be people might pick her more there, but I doubt it. It'll get better though as well. Um, Apparently, her highest win rate position is ADC with a 53% win rate, but it has 300 patches or 300 matches on the patch compared to mid lane, which has 55,000. So it's not really being played except for like probably 2 people play a bunch of it. Um,
Maybe I support you, Eric,
ooh, I like it.
as you're the Zoe ADC.
Yeah, and with all these mana changes, you could choose any ADC to support me
I'll do
as.
misfortune, AP misfortune.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I'm excited about this though. This feels good. What other champions have actual MR shred, like specifically MR shred? I can think Evelyn
Rumble,
does. Rumble does?
Rumble, his E does. That's like really important. Yeah.
Really? I thought it
His
just
E, yeah.
slowed.
So his E, it slows, gives him arch red, and if you hit a second one after they've been affected by a first one recently, it does even more slow and more MR thread. And then if you do his enhanced one, which is his like when it's above 50%, his E does even more MR shred and slows even higher.
Holy
So
shit.
yeah. So what you do ideally, his combo is E them once, get him to walk up, E him once, slow him, E him again, and then Q him, and then you get it does so much, and then W into them, and so they do 0 damage to you, and then you do an absurd amount of damage to them.
Holy Christ, I did not know this. Yeah, Rumble
Yeah, yeah, it's super
deals
good to do
its
that.
10% magic resist reduction, so flat 10 or 10% off, and then it slows them and they stack additively, so up to twice. You can get up to 20%, but in the danger zone, the shred is 15% per, so you can get 30% of it off. That's equal to that. I know Evelyn does. I can't think of anyone else though that
I like,
does.
yeah, I mean honestly, I like using his empowered E a lot too, like or doing also obviously doing the bread and butter is like the two E's and then getting the empowered Q on them, and that does just a gross amount of damage. The WQ and you get the enhanced Q
Yeah.
if you've like been stacking a little bit.
That explains why oh man, I was not. I mean, if you can't measure your heat bar that much, Rumble's not that good. But he that explains why he does as much damage as he does. I did not know that, and I was trying to play Rumble through the Jungle Rumble meta and was not understanding that at all. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does so much more damage if you hit both of them, and even if you hit one, it does like his Q does so much more damage to him.
Yeah, and you're building full pen in his build too. You're usually going Proto Belt, Sork Shoes, Void Staff, Shadow Flame, all of them. You're getting full pen.
Yeah, I like
Wow.
his ult a lot too. His ult is like it's insane. I mean, it does if you have items. I mean, his DOT is so good. The damage over time is just it's like one of the better ones I feel like in the game. He also is like somewhat flexible. Like usually full pen is like super good, but you can do Leandries as well.
Yeah.
But you can do Night Harvester, you can do Proto Belt. Like he's got some options. Same with runes. Like I mean, you can do Conquer, you can do Electricity, you can do Airy or like Comet or something. I mean, he has lots of options. Also, he's super good at the like melee bruisers top
Yeah, he
or mid
is.
lane. Like he's able to just like kind of sustain in lane, and also he just has high base damage with that like trading pattern he can do.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's like part of the reason I'm pretty good at him is because I like his E a lot. Like I'm pretty good at hitting his E.
I'm not. I feel like they always should be going further than they are.
I feel like that ability is just so much longer range than it should be. Like I don't know. That might just be me, but I
I,
feel like it's already so long range.
I get it. I think it's appropriate, but I get what you're saying. I looked and Eve's magic shred is 45% when you max your W. Level 1 W
That's
is
wild.
35% though.
Holy moly.
Yeah. I don't know how many other champions actually have this though. I'm looking on the wiki and trying to find more champions. Mord E has
Yeah,
it gives him
it's the pen,
passive.
yeah.
Okay, Jace's passive on his auto, Karthus W, the Wall of Pain, Kale's
That's right.
Radiant Blast. I did not realize that it reduced that. I don't know if that's her Q or her
I
E. I don't
did.
know which one is which.
Oh,
Uh,
no, it's her. That's right. It's her Q. Q is the MR armor shred.
yeah.
I forgot about
I
that.
thought it was just armor, but it's both of them. Kog'Maw's Q does a whole bunch. I wonder how much it actually
Yeah, the armor and MR.
does.
Yeah, it does a good bit.
It shreds.
I want to say it's like 20. Is it what 15 or 25%? Something like that first level.
It's 23 to 31.
Gotcha.
Mordekaiser's R obviously does. It steals a whole bunch of stats of everything. Rel's Q, I did not know. Oh no, Rel's out. Sorry, her auto. Yeah, Rumble's thing, and then
Her passive, yeah,
Trundle's
on her off.
subjugate. And then there's two that have flat. Corky's Gatling gun has flat, and then um,
I forgot about that. That's
Rel's
right.
passive does both percentage and flat. What? Uh, she Rel's basic attacks deal extra damage before reducing their armor and MR
They
by
steal. Don't they
10%.
steal part of their armor over
She
here?
does do that. Oh, so it. I'm not 100% sure about it, but it does some additional flat uh, against minions, or does flat instead of percent against minions. It looks like something like that. So yeah, um,
Yeah,
cool.
this. Yeah, just I was curious about it, but this says like her attacks, like you were saying, steal the armor and MR, and then they deal an additional like scaling amount with experience, uh, magic damage based on the total like armor and magic resist she took.
Right, that's what it is.
But
Oh,
yeah,
the
I'll
high.
be excited. I hope we see her more because like I feel like she's pretty good and like a fun champion to play
Mhm.
that has not been played very much. For real.
Yeah, agreed. Um, Last thing on Magic Pen, and then I'll go back to actual changes. I was looking just at like the Magic penetration page more on the wiki. The highest amount of Magic Pen any champion can obtain is 49%. I thought you could have gotten more than that, but I guess not. So, cool. Okay, items. So, Archangel Staff quality of life change. Tooltip now notes it being unique with other lifeline items. So, it's the same as Maw, Sterix, and there's maybe one or two others that have that, but it's now unique. I mean, it was unique with them before, it just wasn't saying it, but now it is.
Good.
So, oh yeah, shield bow. Thank you. Yep. So, okay, should we go item by item here? What do you want to do? Do you want to do item by item, or should I just run
Yeah, I
through them
can. I
all?
mean,
Okay.
some of these we talked a little bit about last week, but yeah, we can go. I'd say we go item by item
Okay.
because.
Cool.
Uh,
So
so
go.
I guess
Yeah, go ahead and
Black
take Black
Cleaver.
Cleaver. Yeah.
Yeah, so the health is getting increased from 350 to 400, and the AD is increased from 45 to 50. I think this is an interesting change. I think, like as an item, I like Black Cleaver, like, and I think it has skillful, uh, like expression in its use with like the passive, and I think it has like specific circumstances where it's good, and especially in this meta where armor, uh, is pretty good, tanks are pretty good. I think this is like gonna be a good item. And then I guess as far as like champions specifically who would be like really benefiting from this, like what like jumps out to me, immediately is Wukong. I think it's gonna be like
Urgot.
Urgot, Wukong are both gonna like love this change. Um, so I mean I think it'll be an item to watch for sure. Like and for the people who already it's good on, I mean it's gonna be really nice for them. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think you summed it up great, and this is going to make it even more efficient. Black Cleaver's base stats before were 107% gold efficient, so now it's going to be even more so with those changes.
Yep. And then we talked about this a little bit last week, but as far as Bork, they're changing the proc cooldown is increased from 20 to 30 seconds. And then the proc damage is decreased from 4 to 150 scaling to 440 to 103. So they're just turning Bork back a little bit. I mean, it's
It needed it.
been very strong for a very long time, so
Aurelian
that's
nerf.
much needed. Yep. Yep. Aurelian nerf's incoming.
Nerf Aurelia, please. Yep. Yeah, it's needed it. Like we said, we talked about it a bit last week, and I think it's obviously like on a champion such as Aurelia or something, it's still they're gonna buy it, but it's just less attractive for those that don't really want to get it, and it's situational. It's supposed to be situational, so
Yeah, it
it's
won't
good.
be a first like rush item on like a ton of characters anymore. Hopefully.
No, hopefully not. Yep. Okay, Bloodthirster. We talked about this last time as well. Um, any additional thoughts from what we said last week, or no?
No, I think it'll. I'm just excited to give it a whirl. Honestly, like I think it'll be really good on some people. Like I mean, Samir,
Misfortune.
like I mentioned, yeah, Misfortune will be really fun with the overheal thing. Um, yeah, kind of the stuff we were touching on last week. I mean, I think it'll be just fun to try. So
Cool.
definitely be looking out for that.
Yep, and if you want to know exactly what we're talking about and hear it in more detail, you can go listen to the previous episode of this podcast. So go check that out. Bramble Vest, so they're changing all Grievous Wounds things. I guess we should say up front. They're improving the actual heal cut of Grievous Wounds, but we'll go when we hit them. We'll talk about each of the items. But Bramble Vest, the damage it reflects is also going up from 4 to 6 per auto. And then the passive Grievous Wounds is going up from 25 to 40%, which is huge. Because before, you could get Bramble Vest and you could basically kind of ignore it. And that was the case with most tier 1 Grievous Wounds. Now, this actually makes more of a difference. Like, yes, you're only getting a 15% heal reduction, and that's not a huge amount, but this adds up, and the more empowered versions will also add up even more.
Yeah, and I guess to like that point too, it just like I love this change because it felt like really bad. I don't know to build Grievous Wounds before. Like I don't know. I feel like the point of building the item right is the Grievous Wounds, and it just didn't feel worth to buy unless you could just fully build the like it was much needed and like you provided you could just like fully build it. Like the components all felt very lackluster in terms of like playing against healing champions. It didn't feel good to play against, even when you rush the item against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there were some of them that felt better than others because they could be more easily applied, but Bramble Vest doesn't do anything unless the target's actively auto attacking specifically you. They have to auto you in order for this to actually take any effect. So this felt the worst of them all, of like the tier 1 all of them relative to the others. Like Oblivion Orb, yes, it didn't feel great, but you could still apply that pretty easily depending on your champion a lot of the time. It's not a big deal. You have agency to apply that. With Bramblevest and Thornmail, you do not have agency at all about, except if you're Ramus or Galio, I guess, but you don't have agency to do that. And so this is a really nice change for Bramblevest.
For sure. Yeah, and I think it'll feel really like much improved in terms of like rushing the item in lane, like for example, top lane against like a character like Fiora or something like that. I think it'll just feel a lot better to build. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this.
Same. Next one, Kenpunk Chainsword. The passive Grievous Wounds applied on physical damage is increased from 25 to 40%. No longer applies a further 40% while below 50% health. So it's overall better at all points. That's the only other change. It got no changes to any other stats or gold or anything like that. It's better at all points, but when they're lower health, they're gonna get more. Grievous Wounds is less effective against them when they're below 50% health now, because instead of it being 65%, it's not going to be 40 all the time. But I think most everyone would take that because you're getting a more effective heal all the time.
Yeah, I guess the other thing too, and like we'll talk about this a little bit as we talk about some of these other items, like these last few components, is like they've just made the passive like applying the passive specifically on like the AD items like felt weird. Like they're just weirdly conditional, if that makes sense. Like it was like, you get the 15 whatever it was for more reminder. It was like you have to hit them 3 times to get like the max amount, or you have to with Kempunk Chainsword they have to be below 50% HP to get the full benefit of it. You know what I mean? Like that's just like so niche and feels like really bad to do like it's already the item already felt not so great to build, and then it was already like hard to proc as it was. So I think making it like having the ability to apply it in a more simple and consistent way, I think is very good.
Agreed, 100% with all of what you're saying. So, yeah, I mean, the next one is well, another Grievous Wounds item. So, Chemtech Putrefier, the support one. The recipe was Oblivion Orb and Forbidden Idol, or it's changed to that. It was previously Oblivion Orb and Bandle Glass Mirror. The combined cost is down from 500 to 375. So, just reflecting the actual cost of. I don't think the total cost on the item has not changed to my knowledge here. Passive Grievous Wounds on any damage increased from 25% to 40%, but it no longer deals a 40% Grievous Wounds on next damage via heals and shields. So you're not able to empower allies with additional Grievous Wounds. You're still going to give them the normal Grievous Wounds, but not additional Grievous Wounds on heals and shields. Ability Haste reduced from 20 to 15. The AP reduced from 60 to 40, but it now grants 8% healed and shield power. I mean, all this seems fine to me. You're losing
I
5
think this
ability
is great.
haste. That's fine, whatever. You're losing a little bit of AP. 20 AP doesn't really do a difference at all, especially on supports who are not building a shitload of AP anyways. This is great. They will take the heal and shield power every day of the week.
I think this is like you were saying. I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think this is like just a great change to a great way to change this item because I mean the build path is going to be probably better, and then also like you were saying, I mean I just think from a support standpoint and applying Grievous Wounds standpoint, like this item is going to make so much more sense to build. So now it won't be like, hey, I'm the support. I'm a Lulu, and I just built Chemtech Putrefier, and then I'm, shielding my Varus, and he's not hitting anybody. So we're not getting any Grievous Wounds to
Yeah.
like. Now the support can like do some damage, just do any amount of damage, to proc the Grievous Wounds. It just like incorporates more skillful play, which like I'm always in favor of, and like more like thought, like in terms of like the fights and stuff like that. So overall, and then also like, I mean, this is just my opinion, but like I feel like just as of late, items in general have like they kind of just have a lot of access to ability haste. Um,
There's too much access
which
to ability haste, in my
yeah,
opinion,
like
in the
there's
game.
like just a lot. Like 20 ability ace is a lot. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
like so I don't know. I think toning down the ability ace a little bit makes sense. And then also the same with the AP, toning down the AP on the item, but compensating it with the 8% shielding. So like compensating it in a way that is useful for a support and is meaningful for a support. So like the passive now, like with these changes, is super good. Like the support has control over the application of the Grievous Wounds, which I think is good. Like you're building the item. Like it would like I was kind of saying earlier, like in that example, like it just feels so bad to spend so much money on that item and then like you just see someone and they just don't go in at the right time and like you just literally lose all benefit from the item like whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with everything
And
you're
then it'll
saying.
just be like more straightforward to do. Like it won't like even for like a newer player who doesn't even understand how Grievous Wounds work, they'll still be able to do it because all they do is hit the play, do any instance of damage.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. So, um, Yep. All right. Do you want to take Death Dance for us? Actually,
Yes.
let's just finish all the healing reduction items. So I guess we'll just go through those
Okay.
since we're already in that vein. I'll just read
Yeah,
through
let's
them
do
and we
it.
can talk about
Go
them
for it.
collectively. Executioner's Calling, passive grievous wounds on physical damage increased from 25 to 40 in line with the other ones. AD reduced from 20 to 15 in compensation. No other changes to it gold wise or anything like that. Um, not LDR. Morello, decently big change. The recipe was Oblivion Orb, Blasting Water, and Ruby Crystal. Now it is Oblivion Orb, Hextech Alternator, which is a Ruby Crystal and an Amp Tome put together, and then an additional Amp Tome now. Um, the cost was increased by 500 to 3,000 from 250. The combined cost increased a little bit as well to make up for some of that. The passive now applies 40% grievous wounds on all magic damage, and it changed some of the conditionality of what it used to have. Health reduced by 100, but it also now grants 10 magic pen. And then Oblivion Orb itself is going from 25 to 40%, but you're in compensation, you're losing 10 AP. Uh, and then also Mortal Reminder here. Recipe change from Executioner's Calling and Zeal to Executioner's Calling, Last Whisper, and Cloak of Agility. The combined cost decreased from 750 to 150. Total cost increased from 2,600 to 3,000. It no longer grants 7% attack or 7% move speed is what they mean here. It just says speed on our thing here. No longer grants 20% attack speed. Now grants 30% armor pen. Is now unique with other Last Whisper items. So it's a Last Whisper item. It's not an attack speed anything. And then the passive now grants 40% grievous wounds overall, as opposed to the conditionality that we talked about above. And then the last one is Thornmail. The armor is up by 10. The reflect damage is up from 20% to 25%, and then the passive now applies 40% on being hit, as opposed to conditionality with immobilization and such. So, okay, we ran through all of those. What are the big takeaways you think from the rest of these items?
Yeah, so like I don't know, I absolutely love the change to more reminder. I think that in a lot of circumstances, like a lot of the characters I played, like especially like ADCs, uh, like there were circumstances. The reason I love this like change so much is because there would be circumstances. I feel like a lot of times because of how prevalent healing is that I mean there would be a lot of games where you would want to build both more reminder and uh last whisper because you needed. I mean both were required, the healing reduction and the armor pen, but it was just like absurdly expensive and it was just cost prohibitive. And then also like the stats previously, not LDR, but I'm speaking to just the healing reduction 80 items, mortar reminder specifically, like the crit grievous wounds item felt terrible to build. Like you never really like, I don't know. I just hated building it pretty much no matter what, even if they had healing, like it just felt better that you could be able to do more damage. Like just try to like burst them essentially when they're like so they when they can't heal, you know. I feel like was more effective than a strat than getting grievous wounds, which I don't know. This is just overall great change because I feel like it just opens up more counterplay to healing. Uh, like all those items will feel better, and also having like this build path, and I think like the compensatory like buffs to the items. So for example, like the cost is like 400 more, so it's 26 to 3K now. But it no longer gives you move speed. It no longer gives you attack speed, but it kind of gives you the ability to dip into both armor pen and grievous wounds as a crit champion without like spending just absolute like basically cost prohibitive amount of gold unless you're like absolutely rolling in cash.
Yeah, and something else of note, specifically with Mortal Reminder, their new build path is since it has Last Whisper and Cloak, and then you also need an Executioner's Calling to get it. If you get the Last Whisper and Cloak, you can just, let's say you need an immediate power spike now and you didn't have the Executioner's Calling, you could turn that into LDR instead. You don't have to keep that for Mortal Reminder because the build path works within itself. Or
Right.
you can turn, I mean, you could go the other, what am I thinking of? Cyrilda's Grudge if you wanted to, and then spin off those other bits into different things. Like these are just, these build paths are more interchangeable, and that's always been a highlight of ADC itemization. And I mean, also with Mortal Reminder, now that it no longer has attack speed, it's attractive for users that don't like to build attack speed, such as Felios doesn't build all that much attack speed. AD Misfortune does not build a bunch of attack speed. You can get this on I mean, anyone that's going to be doing crit damage and AD damage, but doesn't need attack speed at all. This is great for them.
Yeah, who has like their own like attack speed steroid in addition to like a Lulu or something.
Jinx
Yeah.
is a perfect example that's going to
Yeah,
love
exactly.
this.
But yeah, I mean, I think overall, and also, I mean, I feel like maybe this is definitely an item to consider for Rengar, even like, I mean,
Yeah.
last with like, and also the like you're saying, like the build path, like just making Last Whisper have be a component and more items, I think is good because, like you were saying, sometimes it felt bad, and then be like as an AD carry specifically, it would be like an awkward amount of gold uh to get to like LDR. So like so I guess by that I mean like Mortal Reminder, in my opinion, will feel like really good to build in this new iteration because execution already feels pretty good to like it doesn't feel terrible to build.
No.
And then it got a nerf to the AD, which I feel like is fair for how much grievous wounds you get. So like I'm totally okay with that. I think that's a great way to change that. And I think they kind of just basically carried that over to Mortal Reminder in terms of like taking out the move speed and then the attack speed, but like Misfortune would look like not like I feel like Misfortune would probably like this as well. Like I'm definitely excited to try it, and I like the direction that they're going in terms of balancing the items like this. So definitely a big positive, I think, and
Yeah.
great job with this.
Another one that I think would love this is now Senna is going to like this one a lot more because she wouldn't get. I mean, you could get Moral Reminder, but it would feel awkward as fuck. I would think. But now I don't. I've never seen a Senna build a Mortal Reminder, actually, the old one. But now this one's going to feel great for her. It might be in her core build path generally now too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely think just the item and across the board will
Yeah.
feel way better, and I think also like making um I don't know, like it just seems like it'll be like even more niche armor pen, I guess, in terms of like crit, because it's like if you need grievous wounds but a little bit of armor pen, you just go more reminder. If you need a ton armor pen but they don't have a lot of healing, you just go more reminder. Like that choice seems more like it makes a lot more sense, you know?
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, obviously, you're gonna go Mortal Reminder still, even if they have the really high health people, if you need to get it and you're the best applier of Grievous Wounds on your team. But now, if your team doesn't have or if you are the best applier of Grievous Wounds, this makes sense to get as opposed to before. Like you're saying, it felt bad to get. Even if you're playing an Ashe, a Kog'Maw, a Vayne, something, those characters wouldn't necessarily want those. They apply Grievous Wounds very well across the whole team. Jinx does as well. Um, but if your team didn't have any other way to do it, you would build it because, well, you might build it, or you don't, and you don't have grievous wounds because other people can't do it. If we're talking about like lots of single damage champions, like a Jace doesn't apply it very well, a Syndra doesn't apply it very well, those sorts of things. So it's just overall good. And then I mean the same sort of things they did to Moral Reminder, Morello's got too, and I'm totally great with this. Like I don't really play a lot of characters that would build this version of Moral Reminder or the last one. I just don't. That's not in my wheelhouse. But I build Morello's all the time. When I'm playing AP Shaco, I build that like every game because he applies it so easily with those boxes and the E and then the R boxes as well. It's fantastic. Yes, this will cost a little more. But it's got a better build path to dip into different things if you want, and you're losing 100 health, which is good because too many things give health, just like they give ability haste. Totally fine with this, and now it gives some magic pen as well. It gives you more reward for building it as opposed to it felt awful to have before as an item, but now you're actually getting more of what it's worth. I still think it needs a little bit more for the cost to be justified at 3,000. This right now feels like a 2750, a 2800 gold item to me, but maybe if it was 10% magic pen, I'd be cool with the 3,000, but it does feel a little lackluster for 3,000 to me.
How much AD does it give you? Like, would it give you in this iteration?
AP Morello's.
Or no, I meant for Mortal Reminder.
Oh, Mortal
Maybe like the new
Reminder. Mortal
Provisional.
Reminder, they're not changing the AD value. So if I look at what it has right now, 35 AD it's giving.
Yeah, that seems kind of low to me. Also,
Yeah, and Morello's is giving, I want to say, like
for 3K,
40.
yeah.
Oh, it's 90 AP, so it gives a lot of AP.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, yeah.
but you're losing some health, but still, it doesn't feel. It feels like it needs a little bit more to push this to a 3,000 gold item.
Yeah, and like this is like similar, like you were saying, this is just like the Mortal Reminder because it gives you dips into gives you a little bit of pen, but also gives you a grievous wounds because there's a lot of circumstances where I feel like both are needed against like to really feel like good against some characters,
Or
like
just
ability
anyone
aside.
using Jack Show right now. So like half the
Yeah,
characters in the
true.
fucking game.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay. We got a few more items to go through, and then a little bit of systems changes. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
guess I'll talk about Death Dance
y-
because that's
oh right, yes. Let me just hit the other ones that don't need to be talked about here. Seraph's Embrace now says that it's a lifeline. We talked about Navori Quickblades last episode, so you can go check that out. We talked about Ravenous Hydra last time as well, I believe. Yeah, we did. We talked about Ravenous Hydra last time as well. But if you're familiar, if you want to know, its ability haste increased from 20 to 25. It no longer grants 10% Omnivamp, instead 10% Lifesteal, which is on hit. It is not physical vamp, it's on hit healing. And then in-game tooltip will now note that the cleave, the AoE, benefits from lifesteal. We talked about that all before. And then yeah, Death Dance is IE we talked about before, just like Navori Quick Blades changed from the crit chance requirement from 60% to 40%. Yeah, we have Death Dance, we have Essence Reaver changed, which that wasn't in, I don't believe, from last time. But okay, anyways, go ahead and talk about Death Dance.
yeah. So let's see. Yeah, Death Dance. So the first thing they're doing is they're changing the recipe. Is previously it was a pickaxe chain vest for hammer, and they're changing it to a pickaxe chain vest and then another pickaxe. So I think that's pretty interesting. But and then the combined cost increased from 525 to 750. And then this is the huge thing with it is that and I think this is part of like what made the item insane, like and as good as it's been for a while, especially on certain characters, is the takedown healing is reduced from 120% of your bonus AD to 50% of your bonus is AD. So like less than half of what it was. So that is a huge change for like just anyone who like loves using Death Dance. And then also it no longer grants 15 ability haste, and the armor is increased from 45 to 50, and then the AD is increased from 55 to 65. I mean, this item has been like very good for a very long time. Uh, I mean, I mean, this obviously like when I would occasionally do. I mean, this item was insane on Rengar for sure. Like because would just get an absurd amount of healing from your bonus AD, and the scaling on it was 120%. So like your healing, Death Dance was even like really good on Rengar, even if you went like full crit, and then you would just like if you're just rolling in cash, you just go Death Dance last, and then you just like one tap people and just get so much healing from the takedown passive. Uh, and especially because you can like stall as Rengar a good bit. So um, yeah, I mean I think this is a good change overall. Like I mean, they really nerfed that healing a ton, so
That's
I
a
feel like
lot, yeah.
that'll take care of that because I mean it was strong, but like yeah, I mean this might be a little too much, but we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean they gave it a little bit of buffs as well, like the 80 and then the armor, but they took away the ability haste, which I like the direction of that. Like I just feel like there shouldn't be like every item shouldn't have ability haste associated with it for just like
I don't know.
No,
Like,
I mean,
why does that item ever? Why did it ever have ability haste? You know, it was never an ability haste item.
I agree with you. I was talking with my cousin the other day about how basically, every item has, most items have ability haste, which is kind of absurd because back in the day, like when, I mean, I guess we're talking, years ago with League, in the earlier days, or even as time went on, up until this item revamp, really, um, not a lot of items had ability haste or cooldown reduction at the time. You needed to specifically be giving up other stats in compensation for getting ability haste, which is not something you have to do anymore. It's just everyone can use their abilities much more commonly. And I get that that makes it more action packed and more fun. But what's the trade off there? They're still getting the same amount of stats and the passives on the items and such. There should be items that have less stats and have a shitload of ability haste as they're, or you're getting ability haste is what you're primarily going into. There's no trade off for ability haste right now. And I do think that needs to change. And that probably, I don't know if it will, honestly. There's other mechanics that they're going to try and fix first, probably. And this just isn't something that I even hear getting brought up all that much. But I agree with you. This is a good change for Death Dance. The build path feels bad to build now. It's supposed to feel, I mean, this is an item that you're not going to feel great building it, but once you get it, you're getting a lot of the benefit. The main thing is you can't get bursted with it anymore. And so they're giving it all this other they're giving it some of the compensatory buffs, getting rid of the healing, which I don't think the healing should exist at all, to be clear. I think it should be completely gone. Yes, if a takedown could get rid of the remaining dot that's going to hit you, totally cool with that. Get rid of this healing. It does not need to happen at all.
Yeah, and I think also like to that point, like by taking out like stuff like that, it just makes like healing in general easier to balance, like because you don't have to consider all the stuff like that, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because they all, and also like you're saying in terms of ability ace, like I totally agree. Like, I mean, like you were for the first point you made is like it should be where like it's like a trade off, right? Like you're dipping into ability haste and then like you know you're doing that and taking a hit to damage or AP, you know. Um, yeah, I just feel in general that there's too much access to like just ability haste, and I think that like the reason that can be problematic is because ability haste is like just better on some champions than others. Like it's just, you know, like there's some
Hmm.
characters that benefit from the ease of ability haste than others. Like and especially when they large like component of their damage is their spells. Like being able to spam your spells is obviously like a huge, like I don't know. I think that um yeah, I just think that that's something they should just look more into, like you were saying, like because as is there, it just seems like everything just gives you like randomly gives you ability haste for like really no reason when it's like I feel like a like ability haste should be like a thing that you're dipping into for a niche reason or for like a niche character because that's part of their kit,
Yeah, full
you
build
know?
anyone is getting about 30% CDR compatibility or comparability, which is just not necessary for like most champions don't need much or a lot of champions don't need any. You don't need any ability haste on Aphelios. You don't. You don't need any on him at all. You don't need any on Master Yi. You don't need any on Udyr. Like I mean, we could go on forever. There's like 150, 160 champions in this game. There are so many that you don't need any ability haste for, and they function just as well as if you were to give them 30% CDR. That doesn't change how you play Master Yi. It doesn't change anything about Udyr. He has fixed cooldowns on his. Same with like Nidalee. It doesn't change any of this shit. So, um, I don't know. Like I'm
I
glad
think
they're taking it out though.
Yeah, I think, and I guess to that point, like too, like I think a good way to do it would be to like take the ability haste component out of like some of those items and then maybe tie it to like the mythic passive component, you know?
Hmm.
So then it's like I don't know. I just have a problem with like so many items in general. It just feels like just giving you straight up 20 ability haste for no reason. And like that's just too much ability haste in my opinion because like that's lucidity boots worth of ability haste just in that item when it's not like that's not the reason you're building the item,
No,
you
it's
know?
not.
And that's like I don't know. Like I guess for example, like Zanya's is always giving you abilities, right? For like it has, I guess, for a while. But like I don't know. Part of the reason you build Zanya's is like so you get the stopwatch passive, and then like inherently because of that you're getting stalling cooldowns. So like you're getting ability haste and you have the ability to stall cooldowns at an active seems like a little insane to me. And then like you were saying, like everything just gives you ability haste. Like Death Dance, why did that give ability haste? Why did I think doesn't the Chainsword gives you ability haste too.
It does, yeah, and that one doesn't seem that bad to
That's
me.
not as bad. Yeah, that's not as impressive, but yeah, I don't know. And it just like it should be a kind of niche thing, like you were saying. There should be a trade off. And it shouldn't be like it's a very impactful stat and its value should be, I guess, higher in my opinion.
Agreed. Yep. So let's get to an item that they are giving ability haste to, which kind of makes sense. Eclipse here. So they're changing the recipe. It used to be Serrated Dirk, Longsword, and Vampiric Scepter. It is now a Serrated Dirk and a Caulfield's Warhammer. Combined cost increased from 750 to 900. No change in total gold cost, by the way. Melee proc cooldown reduced from 8 to 6 seconds, and then range proc cooldown reduced from 16 to 12 seconds. It no longer grants any Omnivamp, that's gone, but it now gives 15 ability haste. I mean, what do you think about this, John?
I think that like overall I like this change. And also I think it'll still be like I guess like in my head, like the characters I build this on a lot are like Rengar. I mean it'll still be good on Rengar. And also especially like so one thing that'll be nice, I guess, in like I'm playing Rengar, you have to think about like building Duskblade versus Eclipse if you're going lethality. And like I guess part of the trade off there is like Duskblade gives you a lot of access to ability haste and Eclipse didn't. But yeah, the trade off was that you get Omni, but now you get ability haste with Eclipse, which is really nice. Ability haste is just a really good stat on Rengar. So
Yeah, I agree that overall
and
I
just
like this
assassins in
change.
general. Yeah.
And yeah, and basically every other assassin item gives ability haste, so you didn't care as much with this item not giving it. Since you're building assassin items, I mean the poster characters for this, I guess Rengar is one. Jace, this is a Jace item 100%. This is an
Yeah.
Aatrox item sometimes. This is I mean, plug and play your assassin or bruiser cosplaying as an assassin. You can build this on any bruiser that you want to be an assassin with. I mean, Vi builds this all the time. Xin Zhao,
Yeah.
Graves can build this now. And I mean, what do you think about this for Graves?
Um. So I think honestly pretty good actually because the range proc cooldown reduced from 16 to 12 seconds, so you'll be able to just proc the passive more often. Sucks a little bit. There's no Omnivamp, but Graves also loves ability haste, so that's like it's really not that terrible. Um, but yeah, I mean overall, I think this is like them taking out the Omnivamp component. Like I'm totally okay with that, and I think that's actually a great idea because then you don't have characters like Aatrox building this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and just getting like just benefiting from it so much. But yeah, I definitely think interesting change. I'll be definitely giving it a whirl. New iteration on like all the champions I play. But
Yeah,
the other
this is a change that I do believe like you that it's healthy. I'm gonna miss the Omnivamp because I do build this a lot on assassins. It's the easy one to build. It's the no-brainer one almost if you don't know which of the three you want, but uh, it is a healthy change, so I'm glad they're doing it.
for sure. And then I guess the other item that I want to mention that we haven't covered was Essence Reaver. The AD is getting increased from 45 to 55, and then the cost is getting increased by 100, so 28 to 2,900.
Yep. It is going
But
to be
yeah, I mean that'll be
more stat efficient before. So as of now on live servers, it was I guess 13.1. It's 104% gold efficient. Now it's going to be probably hovering around like 108, 110 gold efficiency.
yep,
Totally good.
great for like in addition to like the mana buffs. I think this will be great for Ezreal. I think this will be great for Lucian. I think this is going to be Rengar loves to build this item also. So
Shaco.
I'm definitely, yeah, Shaco loves this item. So I'm definitely going to be building it. I'm excited to try it.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a couple other items as well. There's a lot of item changes here, folks. Thimble winner getting 50 more health, 350 to 400. BFD. This doesn't change anything, I don't think. And then the only other one that we have is Mauve Malmortius as well. So we haven't talked about this one. So they're changing the recipe of this as well. It was Hex Drinker and Caulfield's Warhammer. Now it is Hex Drinker, Pickaxe, and a Longsword. So it's maybe better to build, maybe not. I don't think so because Pickaxe is kind of painful to buy. It's 875. So yeah, but combined cost down reduced to 375, down from 500 in compensation. Lifeline passive no longer grants 10% Omnivamp and now grants 12% Lifesteal specifically instead. The ability haste has been reduced from 20 to 0, so no ability haste, and the AD is increased by 10, so up to 65. What do you think?
I mean, I like the direction of this. It's like basically like we were talking about in terms of ability haste. Like
Yeah.
they're like, I don't know, like why did this item never give you ability haste to start with, kind of deal. But I'm glad they're changing it. So, and they're giving it like some compensation in terms of like, you know, increase to the AD a little bit. I also like that, like in general, they're just changing things to lifesteal rather than Omnivamp, because then it's like, you know, on Omnivamp, obviously some champions benefit from that more, and then also like I don't know, when you do like doing lifesteal kind of just like makes it so you have to build it on characters that auto a lot, so it makes it so you have to think about applying the lifesteal. So like not only is like I feel like lifesteal getting like there's less access to it like in general,
Mm-hmm.
and so like using the lifesteal properly is going to be more important, I guess. And like it's not as oppressive having Omnivamp, you know.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, I mean I think this is a big change overall, in my opinion.
100%. Yep. I think that's all the items.
Did we talk about Gore Drinker last week?
No, we
Like a
didn't.
small change, yeah. So Gore Drinker, the only changes are they're changing the mythic passive on it. And per legendary now gives 3 ability haste down from 7. So they're nerfing the ability haste. Great. Like I think that's a nice change. And then now grants plus 50 health per item. So like the mythic passive before was just the ability haste, I guess. But now they're making it ability haste and health. So lowering the ability haste, but also giving you a little bit of health, which like I feel like that's makes sense for that item. That's like part of the reason you build that item. You get the ability haste, and you're getting a little bit of life steal, and you're like, you know, staying in the fight and healing a little bit. And it also
Yeah.
has like skillful use in terms of like you're getting more healing if you're hitting more characters. Like it's not nearly as oppressive as it used to be. Like not even close.
No, but I will say I don't love this here just because. Okay, so I do like giving it 50 health per item. Totally cool. And I'm okay if they want to change it this way, but realistically, what I think it should do is get rid of the ability haste, completely scrap the mythic passive. This mythic passive should be the same as Moonstone is. With each item you have, your Thirsting Slash is more effective. That's what it should be, I think. That's the active of when you use the Gore Drinker proc. It should heal you for more based on how many legendaries you have and make it more effective. That's what I think they should do with this.
Would that not be like insane on Lee Sin?
It would be better, but think about like it's make it weaker when you don't have items. So they nerf it,
Gotcha. Just
but so
like
it's
more scaling.
yeah, give it more scaling just because, Moonstone does the same thing with it increases. I think it's called Starlit Grace. Yeah. Mythic passive grant all other legendary items and increases Starlit Grace's heal. So it's not amazing with one item, but once you get more and more items, the healing becomes becomes a lot stronger. And if you do this with Gore Drinker, it's the same idea. Like late game, Gore Drinker doesn't do all that much unless you're around like 4 people. If you're in the middle of 4, yeah, okay, you can heal a little lot, but it doesn't do very much. But once you have a whole bunch of other items, you could make the healing that much stronger. I don't know. This is where I think they should go with it. I don't hate this change, but I think they're going the wrong direction with Gore Drinker. That's my thought.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. I guess the one thing, like, I'm pretty against like just giving random stuff ability haste, but like I feel like to me, I'm really okay with this because like 3 ability haste per extra legendary you have, like 3 ability haste is not very much. And also, I feel like the reason, like when I think of people who build Gourd Drinker, I'm thinking people who are trying to build it to sustain and who have like people who are like spamming their abilities, and sustaining in a fight, like fighter kind of bruisery people,
Yeah.
which like makes sense for that item, right? Like I feel like that makes sense. So it's like keeping that identity without like making it too oppressive. Because 7 is a lot. Because like 7, you're 3 items and you're like you get as much as Lucidity. It's like that's insane, you know.
Yeah. Because
But
it also
yeah,
gives 20 it gives 20 ability haste on the item itself too.
mhm, right, yeah, which is insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying though. It is pretty strong, and like that item has been pretty there have been some iterations of it that have been pretty insane.
Eh,
Like when it was like really good on Lee Sin
and Olaf
all
when
that
it was
time and
first
Olaf. Yeah.
released. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, it was wild days for sure. So,
Yeah,
okay.
wild times, the Wild West back then when you could Gourd Drinker and have Yumi on you.
And
With Olaf.
heal from 1% to like full health and you could overheal yourself effectively. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was like I mean this was so gross. But like I feel like the epitome of that when I think of it is like Red Cane in his prime when Gourd Drinker was like
Oh,
busted
I
with
loved
Yumi
that.
on you. You're 1 HP, you just are someone. You get back to like 3/4 HP, you Gourd Drinker, and Yumi heals you and you're like full HP.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah. And that's still not too far off though for what Red Cane can do right now with his
Yeah, that
on.
fantasy is not it's not dead by any means.
It is dead on Olaf, but it is not
Yeah,
dead here.
on Olaf, but not Red Cane. Red Cane, that's a really fun combo still.
It is. Yeah. So that's it for items. We have a couple more things. We obviously talked about the skins, but Overheal we talked about last time, so go listen to that. But basically, here's the numbers again. Base shield increased 200, increase to 20 to 300, as opposed to being based on a little bit plus a percent of your max health. Um, Shield no longer scales. Yeah, no longer scales with 9% max health. So they're also changing. I guess also before we talk, there's a little bit of dragon stuff, but the Moss Stomper tooltip has been fixed. After 15 minutes now, a 4-to-1 surrender vote will pass and you can surrender. And then a new casual surrender rules enable for normal lobbies. I don't know what that means, but after 15 minutes, you can surrender 4-to-1, which that used to be at 20 minutes, but now they're implementing it at 15. Uh, I'm thinking a lot more of my games will, if we want to surrender, will actually go through because now one person can't hold it up for another 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it's what so they're doing that in blind and draft, right?
I think this is
And testing
everything.
it,
I'm
right?
thinking it's
Oh, okay.
everything. At 15 minutes, there's a separate casual surrender for normal lobbies, which would be in blind and drafted. I don't know what that means, but when they release the official patch notes with all the descriptions and everything, I'm sure they'll explain what that is.
Okay.
Yep. And then two changes to Drakes. So low health damage reduction. So on the Chemtech Drake specifically, low health damage reduction increased from 10 to 11%. Low health damage AP increased from 10 to 11%. The tenacity per Chemtech stack when you have the soul, or Chemtech Blight. That is, what is Chemtech Blight?
So that's like so whenever you like part of it with each drag was you get healing and shield power per stack. So now it's going from 5 to 6%. And then also with each one you got tenacity, which is being increased per drag from 5 to 6%. So with each Chemtech drag currently you get 5% healing shield power and 5% tenacity. And it's both being increased from 5 to 6%. And then the Dragon Soul is being buffed as well.
Oh,
So
yeah, okay.
now the soul, so yeah, it's both each individual drag is now better, and then the soul is also better. And in terms of the soul, it's you get the low health damage reduction is increased from 10 to 11%. So I think it pops in when you're below, I want to say like
A third,
50, or
maybe?
yeah, it's like, yeah, I want to say, yeah, maybe it's a third. You get damage reduction, which is insane, and then you also, when at that same like health threshold, your damage is increased. Like you're doing is 10 to 11%. So it's like a mini, it's like a last stand essentially type thing.
Yeah, I'm looking to see. Okay, Chemtech Drake. Yeah, just to see. It's um
Yeah, like what the threshold is, you mean?
yeah, I'm trying to find the threshold. Sorry. Yep.
Gotcha.
Du-du-du.
I want to say it's like either 40% of like your health, or it's like a third. I can't remember which.
Okay, Chemtech Dragon Soul here. While below 50 max, while below half, you get the full
That's
amount.
insane. That's actually insane.
I thought it scaled from like 2/3 to 1/3.
So
Okay.
did I. Like that's actually seems really good. So like Chemtech, in my eyes, I feel like Chemtech Drakes are like super good now, especially for
Yeah.
like shield. I don't know. I think if you have a shielding comp kind of, and they have a lot of CC, like these drags are insane.
Yeah, they are. Yep. And that is it. So yeah.
I guess the one thing I can't remember if we touched on this. Did we talk about Yumi at all?
No, did they say what they're gonna change?
No, they didn't say, but like I guess we know it's going to be a nerf of some sort, right?
Sure.
But
So
yeah,
what do
and
you
then I
what
guess
would you nerf then? Since we don't know what they're gonna do, we're putting you on the balance team, John. What are you
okay,
gonna nerf?
huh? I mean, they did. I will say, like like as much as I do get frustrated playing against this champion, like she has kind of been like gutted pretty hard. I will say, like uh, I don't know, because they just nerfed her Q, correct?
Yes, they did.
And then before that, they've like several times they've nerfed her heal on Re. I and then I guess
They
didn't they
also
do something with their ult?
they
Yeah, they did
increased
something with their ult
they
too.
increased the cooldown and decreased the max root duration, I think, too.
So like I feel like her ult should not do it should do less damage also. Like
Okay.
because
Flat or
I don't
AP
know,
ratio? Which one are you changing? I gotta look up
AP
the
ratio.
numbers, I guess here.
Yeah, I need to do the same because I don't know. It kind of depends. Like I felt like her before her AP ratios were just like really good. Like that's part of the reason her key was insane. Uh, so yeah, it's like
The R right now it does sick per wave.
20%.
Yeah, 20% AP and 60 to 80 damage based on ability level.
I feel like that's pretty fair, honestly.
That seems fine to me as well.
That seems pretty fair. Maybe I think, in my opinion, if they would change anything, and I think it would be maybe the attack speed on the E.
Sure.
That seems a little strong to me. Like straight out of the gate, base, you know, level one in your E, you're giving someone 25% attack speed on top of her, um, like her W passive, like the adaptive force she get. Like I don't know. I think the I would change the amount that like of the like adaptive force that like she gives.
Sure.
Like I like it's just a lot.
It's a
I don't know.
lot.
You know, I don't know how else to say it. Like it's just you like for existing, you just give them 12 like flat adaptive force at level one. You know, like and you don't have to put a like you can do it at level one. You know,
Yeah.
without taking any like and by that I mean like you can still jump on someone at level one if you level up your E. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like you don't have to put points into it. But yeah, I don't know. I would say the attack speed and then that is what I would change because just make the W and E in terms of the attack speed feel a little more scaling. Like, because that seemed in my eyes like that's what that character is. Like, she should be very weak in lane. She like you know, she should not have a good landing phase at all. Like her Q should not do damage. And then I don't know, just like
So here's my
Make
thoughts.
it some more interesting, I guess. Make it more interesting to and more skillful expression of applying the bonus AD adaptive force that she gives.
Sure.
That's what I.
So, okay, I get that. So here's my thoughts. I'd do a few things. For one, I would she would probably need some compensation buffs for what I'm thinking. She'd be forced to pop off her host if the host is suppressed, number 1. Um she is if Mordekaiser ults, but if we're talking about a Mal's ult or something else, she should be forced to hop off and then that, the cooldown on hopping off. That should be number 1, that happens. Um Number 2, she should be, or maybe a stun as well. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but maybe a stun. Number 2, uh, I think that she, the what would be a good buff would be to increase the root duration for every wave that's hit of the R. That would be good. But I would say the Q should actually return some damage to her. So because there's a playstyle where you sit on someone and you use Luden's Tempest and you're just throwing Qs and they can't attack you because as long as your host stays safe, you're fine. So maybe like 5% of the damage gets returned to Yumi as true damage. Um, or maybe it's more like maybe 15 or so, but with each level of Q, that decreases the amount of damage that's returned to you. So there's a drawback to doing that. And then additionally, I don't know if this is the case or not, but while Yumi is on the host, make it she does not regen any health. So if she wants to, throw Qs and do stuff on her host, great, go ahead. But you're gonna have to hop off to regen health passively or heal yourself with E. Otherwise, you're gonna kill yourself, or you're not gonna be able to use Q. It might stop you, just like Mundo can't throw a Q if he has less than the health requirement, or Vlad can't. Actually, Vlad's are all percent health, but characters that have flat health costs, they can't use their ability if they don't have the health for it. So that should be the cost of that. That's what I would change for Yumi. She might need some compensation buffs to make the Q do more damage, or to make. I would honestly just buff the R. That's the safest way to do it. Um, but those are the changes I would make. Now, if we're not going to do any of those things, the adaptive force is too high. I agree with you, and I would change the move speed actually with Zoomies, not the attack speed, because the move speed it works for everybody. Attack speed, a lot of characters don't attack fast; they don't care about attack speed, so that doesn't affect everyone. You want it to be
Yeah,
I want to be an equal opportunity nerfer here for Yumi.
you know what? You know what? You've honestly changed my mind on the spot. I think that's actually better because it also takes, I mean, not care of, but makes things like Hecarim Yumi less oppressive for literally no reason. Like
Yeah.
like insanely oppressive. Like that combo is absurd. Um, yeah, so I think that would be a good change because move speed also is such a good stat. I don't know. Also, the move speed is the more or the less skillful. I don't know. Anybody can just push E and gives it's apparent that it gives you a lot of move speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that should not be one of the main components of the ability.
Yeah,
It should be the attack speed and the heal.
It's 20% move speed flat plus an additional 2% per 100 AP. If you want to do something else, remove the AP ratio on the move speed then and just be 20% all the time. Or
Yeah,
make the
it would be
move
like
speed
Lulu. Yeah.
yeah, make the move speed scale with ability level. Maybe it goes 0 to 25 then or something like that. Make it so that level 1 it doesn't do any move speed and then you get more as it goes on or something. I don't know, there's ways to introduce counterplay, more counterplay, because that's why people hate Yumi. They all hate it because there's no counterplay. So, um okay, introduce more counterplay.
Yeah, for example, I think a good way. I mean, a good way to do this would be with how Lulu has her W, where she could either poly someone with it, or it gives them she can choose to use it on ally, give them an attack speed and the move speed. It's there's a trade off, right?
Mhm.
And also there's lots of circumstances where doing one or the other is very makes a huge difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether you're polying someone or giving your AD um the attack speed steroid, that can make a huge difference.
Yeah. Yep. So,
But yeah, I guess and then the last thing was, didn't they mention they didn't say what, but
Lilia buffs are on the horizon.
They are. We don't know the numbers or what they're doing. So
But yeah,
I don't even want to speculate because that could be totally placebo or it could be something that they're actually doing because they had to nerf her a couple patches ago when they changed her to melee form as opposed to range because of the interactions with demonic embrace and such. But they're buffing her something. I don't know. I mean, it could be like a 0.5% AP ratio increase on her move speed on the passive of her Q, which would be nothing. Or it could be, actually something meaningful. So I don't know. I haven't played her all that much recently. I actually want to try and I want to play some more Lilia, but I guess when I have played her recently, she doesn't feel all that great. So maybe she does need a buff of some sort. But I hope that whatever they do, it's a jungle focused buff, not a top lane focused buff. So maybe give her something else, but really nerf her mana regen. You could do extra monster damage or something like that, or additional monster heal if they need or something, but reduce her laning ability. Top lane Lilia is cancer for anyone that's played with it, against it, or as it, and nobody wants that to be in the game.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, but we've been going for a while. So let's wrap it up here. So this has been episode number 794. We have community nights every night or not every night. Oh my god. Every Tuesday at 7:15 Eastern starts, runs for 3-4 hours and such. It's a really good time. Hop in and join us. We have a Patreon if you want to check that out. We have multiple different benefits that you can get for different tiers and such. So check all of those out. We also have, you can, or if you have any feedback, please let us know. You can send any feedback you have to questions@trinityforcepodcast.com or send it in, post something in the feedback thread of our Discord. We're always staying up to date if there's any sort of feedback, and we appreciate that. Whenever there's technical difficulties or someone wants to share praise or critiques, we welcome it all and we encourage community involvement. Also, I think that's actually the rest of my spiel, but we are sad to say that one of our podcasters is going to be stepping back. Don't worry, it's not me. It's not John Fenrir, a loved member of our community, is going to be stepping back for busy life reasons and such. But he's been a joy to have on, and we've loved every single pod and all of his really hot takes and not caring about other changes and stuff. It's been great having him on here, so we're gonna miss him for sure. But yeah, with that is the end of 794. So have a good day, everyone, and we will see you next time.
I